Chapter 500, Nonexistent City. The child of the primordial demoness must be born as a woman. Jenna pondered the sequence name, witch, and began to grasp its significance. A god's offspring can't be just ordinary, and being a sequence 9 or 8 from birth seems impossible, doesn't it? All right, Jenna agreed. Upon joining the Tarot Club, her initial mission didn't require her to part ways with her companions or expose herself to unnecessary risks, bringing a sense of comfort. Madame Judgment responded with a smile, saying, "Allow me to update you on the Tarot Club's current situation." After Anthony Reed left apartment 601 at 3 Rue des Blouses Blanches, the exhaustion of a sleepless night hit him hard. As a psychiatrist, his physical condition hadn't improved much. Staying awake until dawn and enduring severe injuries took a toll. Surviving with the help of the blood-sucking obsidian arrow had left him weakened, having lost a significant amount of blood. Subsequent intense battles and relentless running had drained his stamina, leaving him naturally fatigued and yearning for a bed. At times like these, he couldn't help but envy the hunters. Lumion, just one sequence higher, hadn't slept either. Despite being the main force in both battles, he showed no signs of weariness, appearing energetic enough to take on Gardner Martin once more. Pressing on, Anthony Reed turned onto Rue Anarchy, entering a brownish-gray house and reaching a corner on the 3rd floor. This was his safe house, an apartment vacant for a long time. He believed it unsafe to rent from a landlord or broker for a safe house. Any interaction risked betrayal and tracking. Leveraging his identity as an information broker, he identified unused or abandoned apartments in the Market District. If things went awry, he could choose a random one to hide without making contact. Dusty bed and moldy blanket didn't bother Anthony. He collapsed and quickly succumbed to sleep. In the hazy dream, clarity and rationality returned suddenly. Ahead, Avenue du Marché unfolded, a cafe bustling with patrons and thriving. Following his peculiar intuition, Anthony Reed passed a golden retriever at the cafe's entrance and arrived at Booth D by the window. A lady in a light green and white dress sat there. Anthony sensed he should see her face clearly, one capable of leaving a stunning impression, but a clear mental image eluded him. It was as if all the information had been gathered, but his brain or body of heart and mind struggled to process it. "Good morning, I'm Justice." The lady introduced herself in a gentle voice, carrying a hint of briskness. Justice? Anthony had already learned from Lumion and Franca that the secret organization they belonged to was the Tarot Club. Members used tarot cards as code names, with major arcana card holders representing key demigod members and minor arcana card holders as peripheral members under the different major arcana cards. Justice was undoubtedly a major arcana card. "Are you going to be my major arcana card holder?" Anthony asked respectfully, taking a seat across from her. Justice smiled. "You can also choose to switch. It's not that fate can't be changed." Of course, some entities don't think so. The major arcana card opposite him was friendly, not imposing at all. She even initiated a joke, easing Anthony's tense heart. He exhaled quietly and said, "I can draw a card now." As he finished speaking, a stack of tarot cards appeared in front of him. Anthony habitually selected one from the middle and placed it on the table. The minor arcana card revealed a man carrying a sword sitting beneath 3 hanging swords. 4 of swords. You've already unburdened your heart. The remaining rest and preparation are for propelling yourself further into the future. As a psychiatrist, this card signals you to be vigilant about your mind at all times. We can shoulder new burdens at any moment, and it's crucial to know how to accept, accommodate, and resolve them. Madame Justice interpreted the minor arcana card. A stack of tarot cards appeared in front of her, noticeably less than before. With casual ease, she drew a card and placed it at the center of the table. The card portrayed an impartial goddess seated on a stone chair, wielding a sword and scales, the Justice card from the major arcana. Pushing the Justice card toward Anthony, she smiled and said, "You have 2 missions now. First, collaborate with the 2 of Cups to eliminate mirror people and investigate the demoness sex predicament. Second, make contact with a covert organization known as the Psychology Alchemists. Psychology Alchemists, Anthony mulled over the name. After laying out the missions, Justice inquired, "Did they brief you on the specifics of the great existence we're following and the Tarot Club?" "All I know is that you follow an orthodox god named the Fool and use tarot cards as code names, following his name," Anthony honestly replied. Before formally joining the Tarot Club, Lumion and Franca had kept details scarce. Justice chuckled. "Then allow me to introduce you to our beacon and savior, the great Mr. Fool." Her tone held a touch of joy. After leaving Lugano Toscano's secure hideout, Lumion took a carriage to Quartier du Jardin Botanique. He navigated the street, named Rue des Pavés in the Market District, and entered the safe house he had leased earlier. Ludwig sat on the sofa, engrossed in a novel and indulging in dessert. Lumion glanced at him, sneering, "Escaping the Church of Knowledge doesn't mean you should stoop to reading novels only." Ludwig diverted the conversation. "Someone of ill temper sent you a letter. It's in the bedroom." "Ill-tempered," Lumion furrowed his brow. "The one in the golden dress, like a doll," Ludwig replied, not bothering to look up. Midway, he paused to savor a bite of carrot cake, a specialty from the Lone Kingdom. "Madam Magician's messenger," Lumion asked in puzzlement, "why did she lose her temper at you?" "I saw her and had a little spat with her," Ludwig replied nonchalantly. "Just an argument. She didn't string you up for a beating." Lumion muttered silently as he entered the bedroom and picked up the folded letter from the desk. This letter differed from the one that had previously rewarded him. It primarily addressed Lumion's inquiries after acquiring the 001 information. "This seems to be a hint from the Church of Knowledge. If you can attain a high position, they are willing to offer some assistance. They might even tacitly permit you to take possession of the sealed artifact. However, there are two prerequisites. Firstly, you must achieve the status of a Sequence 4 saint at the very least, possessing godhood and the qualifications to step onto the chessboard. Secondly, you must have a method to transport that sealed artifact without causing harm to the surrounding humans and the environment. If you fail to meet these two conditions, the Church of Knowledge won't extend clear support. There's also a contradiction for becoming a demigod, and how those more formidable than Sequence 5 are unable to approach 001. Perhaps there's a hidden message here, suggesting that after proving your ability to advance to Sequence 4, but before consuming the potion through a ritual, entering the City of Exiles, Morara, and approaching 001 is the next step. Leave a mark or achieve something to lay the groundwork for controlling it when you advance to a higher sequence. As for their specific expectations, I cannot discern them at the moment. In simple terms, if you demonstrate and prove your potential, the Church of Knowledge is willing to support your bid for the Red Priest position, competing against Red Angel Medici. Does that surprise you? Are you excited? Surprise, more like shock. Lumion had never truly entertained the idea of becoming a true god. Despite not being a devout believer, he had grown up in a society influenced by such beliefs. His exposure to the mystical world was relatively recent, making the notion of "I too can become a god, I also want to become a god" unlikely. As for the terror and might of Red Angel Medici, Lumion had witnessed it in Fourth Epoch Trier. The prospect of becoming enemies with such a formidable entity, and vying for the Red Priest's deity position, instinctively struck him as absurd and meaningless. What's the fundamental difference between this and Auror's just during combat class, claiming you've mastered basic combat techniques and can now slay a god? As these thoughts raced through his mind, Lumion suddenly muttered to himself, "If I become a true god, can I resurrect Auror?" After a moment of silence, he smiled self-deprecatingly and said, "Even deities can perish and may not be resurrected." Madam Magician mentioned that the betrayal curse of the Pride armor stems from the aversion and hatred of a deity before their demise. However, according to the information she provided, the Pride armor first appeared at the end of the all-out war in the northern continent. Did a true god perish back then? The abilities of the Pride armor clearly belong to the warrior pathway. The one who perished was the god of war. But in the Fasek Empire, the Church of the God of Combat is still fine. That's what the newspapers, magazines, and merchants said. Lumion pondered for a moment, but couldn't come to a conclusion. He shifted his gaze back to the letter. I never intended for you to pursue the Red Priest's deity position, actually. I believed that with an angel sealed within you and a changed fate, there was a chance for you to become a high-sequence beyonder. Now, follow your heart's desires. Our tarot club is here to support you. However, there's something to be cautious about. I went to Lemberg and consulted a few local scholars known for their knowledge, but none of them have heard of the city of exiles, Morora. In the eyes of ordinary people, and even the lower and middle-class clergymen of the Church of Knowledge, this city is non-existent and unrecorded.